Thank you.
Mama, I was listening to you talking about you being a politician and a revolutionary. Looking at everything that's happening in our country today, especially with the student movements at the universities, especially in the Western Cape and Rhodes, etc., what would your message be for students that are today trying to be the politicians that you guys were back then?
Yeah, that's deep. You see, anyway, the way you girls and boys are carrying things, doing things about Cecil Rhodes statues and what have you, I wish you would first, before you do that, sit down amongst yourselves, ask yourselves a question about this John Cecil Rhodes, his statues and what have you. Instead of destroying them, what are your children going to learn about Cecil Rhodes? How are they going to know what kind of a creature he looked like, or who was he? Because it would be better if you removed into somewhere, so that your children's children would be able to be told that this was John Cecil Rhodes who did A, B, C, D. You see, I would have done that.
But you spoke earlier about writing songs that were revolutionary, that were not only revolutionary, but were outspokenly revolutionary.
Yes, yes.
What kind of flack did you get for doing that at that time? I mean, it sounds to me, in essence, you were doing what was in your heart. You weren't setting out specifically.
Right.
But did you get flack for doing that? What did you have to endure because you were being outspoken?
To me, it wasn't speaking. It was in me. I wanted to know why. Oh, Dr. Malanu nomteto nzima. It was like I'm telling you about Dr. Malan, you know, so that when I sang, some people understood and saw the wrong that truly Dr. Malan used to do. Because why was he stopping me and her sitting together, eating together, marrying each other if we wanted to marry each other? I don't mean her and me, no. I mean the man. If it was a white man, why not marry me if he wanted to marry me? Because I wouldn't marry. Okay.
Well, it wasn't legal in those days.
But it was not there those days.
Yes,
It was either.
It was hidden.
Immorality Act, they used to call it.
Yes.
But it was a black man and
yes, across the color line.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I remember 1952-3, somewhere there was a policeman in Durban who got married to some English girl, Regina, and it was a whole halala. But Regina, who was an English girl, she took her black husband to England, so it was okay, you know. But now it's okay. I mean, now you can marry anyone you like. Yeah.
But I think in answer to that woman's question, what you really said is keep speaking about it, keep asking those questions, never ever feel that you can't put yourself out there and say what you feel.
Yeah, keep on asking.
Yes.
Somebody will have the answer to you.
Yes.
But the whole thing is, before you do anything of that kind, have a meeting with yourself. Before you talk to the next person, because it's how you feel yourself about certain things, you know. So it's like before you get married to a man, it is you yourself who wants to marry this man. Don't go to somebody else and say, can I marry this man?
Yes, stick with your truth.
That's it.
Yes. And getting back to that point, did you ever have flack? You never quite answered that. I mean, were you stopped from singing at points? Were your songs banned at points?
Yes. This is why I left South Africa in 1958. 1958, when things were very hot, you know, the special branch and what have you, they went to my studio, which was in Jeppe, Troubadour. There was a man, because we used to have what we call talent scouters. They asked this man, they said, listen, this governmentic, what say, Dr. Malan, what? And Cuthbert said, well, maybe us, then they said, give us the tape. They went to the studio, took the tape and destroyed it. And then the other man was saying, we must arrest this woman, because to him I was a woman. But then the other guy says, oh my God, this girl is too small to be put in jail or anything like that. So they spoke to my bosses, Mr. Cook, the owners of the company, and Mr. Fagan. So Mr. Fagan said, okay, please, we're going to destroy this. Then they said, still, we're coming back to collect her 2 days after that. So that particular day, the Troubadour people sent me to Rhodesia. And I was sent to Rhodesia, where I found papers talking about Patrice Lumumba, that he was missing. Nobody knew what happened to Patrice Lumumba. And I thought to myself, how can a human being as big as Patrice just vanish? That's unheard of. Then I wrote another song. Wanyamalala batasazi, buzani nucho, buzani chela. And then they said, you mean this girl, she still continues to asking questions like this? We must do something about this. So because, you see, ANC was not only, this was the headquarters of ANC. Rhodesia was ANC. Malawi was ANC. Zambia was ANC. So the whole thing was ANC. If you were ANC here, you were ANC throughout Africa. This is why it's called ANC. What does that stand for? That's it. As long as you are an African. She is an African. Never mind her color. This girl is born here, right?
Yes, I'm a third generation.
To be, the color is not the thing. You are an African, whether you like it or not. You are born in Africa, you are an African.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I mean, again, you bring this up, and I think it's something that we constantly need to remind ourselves as South Africans.
Right.
Is our place within Africa. I mean, especially in the light of the recent xenophobic attacks, but I think in so many ways, we often underestimate the role of what people were doing outside of our borders, right, in ending a system such as apartheid.
Right. Xenophobia is something that didn't start today or yesterday. Xenophobia was there since the world began. This is why they killed Jesus, the Jews. So that was all xenophobia. So anyway, we're not talking politics, we're talking music.
Absolutely. Is there anybody else here that would like to ask Dorothy a question? Yes. Please do. This is our chat.
Thank you. And again, what an honor and a privilege. And I just learned that we share something in common. I'm not 80.
Right.
But we have a Port Elizabeth connection.
Right,
right. I want to ask you something about love. True love, the greatest love of your life. Share with us romance, music. It's all about love.
Oh,
who was your greatest love? And your,
or maybe there were a few.
Yes. And who were you the greatest love to?
I had a handful of them, actually. Because when I was young, I was a very pretty woman, And at the time, I won a Miss Mzilikazi beauty contest. I was so pretty that the elder, you see, yesterday men, if you were younger than them, they admired you, but not to come to you and talk to you about love, no, they respected that. But I had my very first lover. I loved him so That was Victor Ndazilwana, another singer who was about 4 or 5 years older than I am. And I was his girlfriend for 3 years. He never touched me because of the respect that men those days had for younger women. But I loved him very much.
Yes.
And then the rest, of course, I won't say.